Dear children, today I shall explain the third part of the one-act play, The Rising of the Moon. Let us remember the end of second part. While singing a patriotic ballad, the ragged man forgot a line. The sergeant reminded him the missed line. Very surprisingly, the ragged man wanted to know, how did you know this patriotic song? When did you learn this song? And children, after that, the page number 144 and 145, just go through it and read their dialogues between the sergeant and the ragged man, and you just will come to know the sentiments about their country, their feelings for their country, their motherland, and the emotions, how they are expressing for their motherland. In fact, the sergeant has also become very much sentimental about his motherland here. I am just coming to 146 number page, 146 page. Read this dialogue. Man says, maybe, sergeant, it comes into your head sometimes, in spite of your belt and your tunic, that it might have been as well for you to have followed Granuel. Some pronounce Granuel, but we can pronounce Granuel also. Okay. Now the man is expressing his view that instead of becoming a sergeant, you could also be a revolutionary, and you just it might have been as well for you to have followed Granuel. Children, who is Granuel? Granuel is a great leader of Ireland. She is a well-known historical figure in 16th century in Irish history. She was a graceful pirate queen who took over active leadership by land and sea in Ireland. She was full of patriotism. Having heard this, the sergeant says, "It's no business of yours what I think." Man says, maybe, sergeant, you will be on the side of the country yet. Maybe you are still an active participant of your motherland. The ragged man says to the sergeant. Sergeant was becoming very much sentimental, so he just tried to come out of these emotions, and he gets a barrel. "Don't talk to me like that. I have my duties and I know them." Looks round, that was a boat, and I hear the oars. He hears the oars sound and goes to the steps and looks down. The man starts singing, "Oh, then tell me, Sean O'Farrell, where the gathering is to be." "In the old spot by the river, right well known to you and me." Sergeant asks this ragged man, Stop that, I tell you." Man sings loudly, "One word more for signal token, whistle up the marching tune with your pike upon your shoulder at the rising of the moon." Sergeant says, "If you don't stop that, I will arrest you." A whistle from below answers, repeating the air. Sergeant says, "That's a signal," stands between him and steps. "You must not pass this way. Step further back." "Who are you?" "You are no ballad singer." Children, by the way, let me tell you that this sergeant also is full of patriotism, but he has to do this job duty as a sergeant for the sake of his family, for his wife, for his children. Okay, now sergeant listens to the song and thinks it is a signal song. He begins to suspect this ragged man, asks him to stop singing. The ragged man keeps singing, "One word more for signal token, whistle up the marching tune." And in this way, please go through the lines of the song. Sergeant becomes more doubtful and says to the ragged man, "If you don't stop that, I will arrest you." Sergeant hears a whistle from the below and becomes very much sure that it is a signal song, and asks the ragged man, "Who are you? Give me your true identity. You are not a ballad singer." Now children, come to the page number 147. Here we can see the climax. "You need not ask Man says, you needn't ask who I am. That placard will tell you. Points to the placard. Sergeant says, you are the man I'm looking for. Man says, Man takes off hat and wig and Sergeant seizes them. Man says, I am the man you are looking for. There's 100 pounds on my head. There is a friend of mine below in a boat. He knows a safe place to bring me to. Sergeant looking still at hat and wig. It's a pity. You deceived me well. Man says, I am a friend of Granuel. There is 100 pounds on my head. Sergeant says, it's a pity. Man says, will you let me pass or must I take you? Let me. Sergeant says, I am in the force. I will not let you pass. Man says, I thought to do it with my tongue. Puts hand in breast and what is that? Voice of policeman X outside. Here this is where we left him. Sergeant, it's my comrades coming. So let me explain. Children, now we see the sergeant comes to know about the true identity of this ragged man. He is that convict. He is that absconder who broke open the jail and is escaping now. He is that wanted person for whom the notice was pasted. Okay, this is that ragged man. This is this ballad singer who is that wanted person. And now the ragged man admits this. He accepts all and he tells that I am a friend of Granuel and I am this escapist. I am this absconder who you are looking for. You are looking for me actually. I am that person who you are searching for in this night. And one can get, the ragged man says, one can get 100 pounds after arresting me. The sergeant says, it's a pity, shame on you. You deceived me, you cheated me. And actually you are a cheat in my eyes. And by this time we are seeing now these two policemen enter the seaport who went outside to paste the notice for the wanted person. Well, now ragged man says, you won't betray me and I am the friend of Granuel, the lady who, the person, the patriot of Ireland. He hides behind the barrel and sergeant also hides this man's hat and the wig which he opened beforehand. Policeman asked, did anyone come this way? Sergeant took a pause and answers that after taking a pause, the sergeant answers, no one came this way. Again the policeman asked, no one at all. Surprisingly, the sergeant answers, no one at all. Actually, the sergeant has got some feelings for this ballad singer and wants to give him a relief. Okay. Now, the policeman expresses his wish to stop along with the sergeant that night on the seaport. Sergeant says he does not want them to stay with him. Says, I don't want to. There is nothing for you to do here. You have no work here. I can manage alone. This is also said just because to give this ragged man a relief. Now, policeman says, you bade us to come back here. You ordered us to come back here and keep watch with you. Sergeant says, it is better the place to be quiet. Page number 148. I am now. You also come to the page number 148, children. The very last page of this one act play. What we are saying here, the policeman says, there are clouds coming up and you have the darkness of the night before you yet. I will leave the lantern over here on the barrel. I am in the... Okay, children, just let us go through this line. And policeman B, policeman X and policeman B is saying, you bade us to come back here and keep watch with you. Sergeant says, I would sooner be alone, and would any man come this way, you making all that talk? It is better the place to be quiet. Understood? Okay, policeman B again says, well, we'll leave you the lantern anyhow, and hands it to him. Sergeant says, I don't want it. Bring it with you. Take it with you. You please go back. And again the policeman just insists on saying that you might want it. Take this lantern. There are clouds coming up and you have the darkness of the night before you yet. I will leave this lantern over here on the barrel. Goes to barrel. And the sergeant is fearful, because if he goes to the barrel, he may find out this convict, the ragged man who is hiding there. So says, bring it with you. I tell you, no more talk. Policeman B says, well, I thought it might be a comfort to you. I often think when I have it in my hand and can be flashing it about into every dark corner. And it's the same as being beside the fire at home and the beats of wood blazing up now and again. But Sergeant says that Sergeant is not convinced to take this light, the lantern, in that seaport. He says, be off, the two of you, yourselves and your lantern. Please, both of you, go away from here and carry the lantern with you. They go out and man comes from the behind barrel. The ragged man comes out behind the barrel, from behind the barrel, and he and Sergeant stand looking at one another. They are standing face to face. They look at one another. Sergeant says, what are you waiting for? Man says, for my hat, of course, and my wig. You would not wish me to get my death of cold. Sergeant gives them. Sergeant is giving a signal that ragged man must disappear from this seaport now. Okay, actually Sergeant is helping the ragged man to go from that place, and man going towards steps says, well, good night, comrade. Comrade means the member of the same party, friend, and thank you. You did me a good turn tonight. You did a lot for me tonight, and I am obliged to you. I am grateful to you. Maybe I'll be able to do as much for you when the small rise up and the big fall down. Small rise up and the big fall down. When we all change places at the rising of the moon. He waves his hand, he bids goodbye and disappears. Children, what we are seeing here? Here, very significant lines are said by the ragged man. Here we see the generous attitude, kindness and patriotic feelings in the mind of the sergeant for his own motherland, his own country, how he helps the revolutionary to escape, how he saves him from danger secretly after the policeman arrives there. And from the last dialogue of the ragged man, we come to know how he expresses his gratitude and gratefulness towards the sergeant. He addresses the sergeant, comrade, friend, and thanks him, says, you did me a good turn tonight, and I am obliged to you. When the small rise up and the big fall down, I'll be able to do as much for you. He means when the island will gain freedom, small rise up, island will rise up, and the big fall down, when the British government will fall down, will go back, and when our motherland will have independence, when the moon will rise up. That means symbolic meaning, when motherland will gain independence, will gain freedom, when our country will get rid of the British government, when the moon of freedom will smile in the sky, when moon will rise in the sky, when moon will be rising up in our motherland, I must be able to do something for you. Means I must remember you, remember your contribution, the help how to do today, tonight, this night. As a mark of gratefulness, as a mark of respect, as a token of love, I must do something for you. I must remember your contribution, how to do this to me tonight. Thanks for your contribution, thanks for your help. The ragged man waves hands and disappears from the seaport. But see how the sergeant is saying his dialogue here. The sergeant, the last dialogue is said by the sergeant, turning back to the audience and reading placard. He is reading the placard, the notice placard. He is reading saying 100 pounds reward, 100 pounds turns towards audience. I wonder now, am I as great a fool as I think I am? Have I really done the task of wisdom, or have I done the job of a foolish person, letting the escapist go away, letting the absconder, the ragged man go away from here? Did I do the right thing? He's throwing the question towards the audience. Children, we were watching the one act play while reading, while explaining, and while analyzing. So in this way, the curtain is drawn of this one act play and the drama ends. So now after reading this, you also analyze whether the sergeant really did the right thing, letting the absconder, the convict, the ragged man, the ballad singer, who is a revolutionary actually, letting him go away from this seaport. Okay, so read this one act play and let me know your problem, your queries. I must meet your queries. Okay, and lots of love and affection and good wishes for you. Thank you. Have a nice time.